Hello and welcome back to OnFARM. It's Anna here with you again this week, and something slightly different that I think you will enjoy. My husband and I took part in a podcast where we were being interviewed rather than, as I'm used to, doing the interviewing. We were asked by Farmstrong if we would chat to them just about our life, what we get up to, a couple of things that we've done recently, and our general kind of thoughts about wellbeing within farm life. And so we did that interview a few weeks ago. The episode has been broadcast on the Farmstrong channel, and now we're sharing it from here. It's actually also pertinent because producer Dave, whose voice you've heard many times on OnFARM, has also become, back in the autumn, producer of the Farmstrong podcast. So it's another hat that he's wearing, but you'll notice that just like OnFARM, it's beautifully edited and sounds wonderful. So a really nice one to listen to, even though I do find it a bit more awkward listening to my own voice when I'm being interviewed rather than interviewing. Anyway, do sit back and enjoy this. And I've presented this podcast for a number of years, but you maybe don't know a huge amount about me. So you'll learn a bit more in the next episode, including my pernickety nature when it comes to how neatly a bed should be made. But anyway, I'll leave you to it. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the first Blether Together from Farmstrong Scotland of 2026. I'm Sarah Stephen. Thanks for being with us. This episode is groundbreaking. We have our first husband and wife duo, Willie Thomson and Anna Davis. Is your bed made right now?
No.
Yes, it is. I did it.
I got up first, which means that the bed is made, but not to anywhere near my standard.
Oh, I see.
But it is made.
I bet the cushions are on the floor, are they?
The bed is made. The bed is made.
Anna and Willie are tenants on a 250-acre arable farm near Haddington. They recently converted an old steading into co-working spaces. Anna also runs rural PR and marketing firm Scene&Herd and hosts Scottish farming podcast OnFARM. It's a busy life, but recent health challenges for Willie have prompted a change in approach.
My youngest daughter was 4 years old at the time, and I had to get her to put my socks on. I thought, this is not right.
I've always been a bit of a worm in Willie's ear, even before his diagnosis, saying, do you really want to get to be 80 and think that you didn't go to any of your daughter's birthday parties because you were sitting in a tractor?
And as we step into a new year, Anna and Willie's story might get you thinking about what you choose to prioritise in future.
You only live once. If you want to make the most of your time by being in a cattle shed for 14 hours a day, then go for it. But that's not what I would choose to do. And I think your mind has changed a little bit too.
But almost because it was, how much would my mindset have changed if I didn't have to slow down? Because
I wonder
myself
yes.
that as well.
Welcome to you both. Thank you very much for joining us on our podcast.
Thank you for having us.
It's lovely because you are our first couple.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you are.
No pressure.
Yeah, let's see how lovely it is by the end. Yeah.
You're looking quite cosy to me at the moment. Is that how you'd normally sit together?
No. Well, maybe sometimes if we're watching TV at night.
And we've got a dog on the sofa shoving us together as well. But this isn't the usual.
Oh, you old
pose.
romantic, Willie.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's to do with the technology. We have to share a microphone, so we're squished together on the sofa.
There's no need to explain here. It's lovely to see you both looking very together, and welcome. It's lovely to have you on the podcast. Now, we are at the start of a new year, 2026. It's all ahead of us. It's quite exciting. How do you feel about the year ahead?
I am a bit of a weirdo, actually. I love the New Year because I love starting things fresh. I love New Year's resolutions. I write them all down. I usually manage to stick to at least half of them, which I feel is reasonably good going.
Impressive.
So aside from the fact that I'm not a big fan of the January and February weather, I love New Year and the kind of new beginnings.
Willie?
I don't know if tolerate's the right word, but Anna presents all these resolutions and we've all got to try and keep up as a family to help her achieve these resolutions at times. So it's not always the best time of year, but it's mainly because of the weather and the dark days. But days start to stretch out, especially from end of January. And there's optimism that we've got hopefully some good stuff to come harvest next year. So yeah, always try and go with an optimistic view, and I think things were quite well placed for that again for 2026.
That's a good positive way to start the new year. I'm quite sort of envious of you, Anna, because it seems that you would manifest it, so you write it down, so it sort of is committed to paper, which means you have to, and you manifest it. So is there not some sort of percentage that when you share it, 40%, you're much more likely to follow through, isn't it? Whereas if you just say it, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes, it's interesting because you read conflicting things, actually. And I read not that long ago, if we've got a big goal or an ambition, we should keep quiet about it until we've achieved it, in case there's a feeling of letting people down. But actually, I don't feel that. I feel that if I want to do something and I say it out loud, that gives me the accountability to actually get on with it. So it's not a particularly life-changing resolution, but one of mine for this year is that I want to try and read all of the Jane Austen novels. And I think I've only read one. I've seen every film, but I've only read one of the books.
Which one?
The one I've read is Emma. I can't even remember actually how many there are in total, but I think if I haven't said that out loud, then it's easy just for me to say, oh, well, I'll just brush that one under the carpet. But because I've said it out loud and I've told my book club friends, then I kind of now have to...
You're committed.
...follow through with it. Otherwise, I'll be too embarrassed to say that I've failed in my mission.
Well, it's lovely that you've chosen Jane Austen, of course, because at the end of last year, there was the anniversary of her birthday, wasn't there? And there was lots of traction
that's what gave
online.
Me the inspiration.
So it's sort of giving you some inspiration. Well done you. Well done you. Now, we're sort of getting into the podcast, but I normally start with a quickfire rapid question round. Now, these are not written in any particular order, so they just land where they land, okay?
Okay.
Right. Willie, what is the favourite thing about your job?
The outdoor spaces. We live in a lovely part of the world, and views change all the time with the different weather, but I just love being outside, and it's a great place to live and a great way of life. Yeah.
Anna, what is your favourite way to waste time?
Watching trashy television. That's awful, isn't it?
I like that honesty. That's great. I mean, it's great. Hey,
Married at First Sight. Highly recommend it if you're looking for something really awful.
Willie's shaking his head in the background. Willie, if you could go back to any age, what age would that be?
I would probably say an age range, if I can be allowed to do that, say from 20 when I finished at SAC to 25 when I was travelling in New Zealand. That was a brilliant sweet spot of fun and no responsibilities. And
before he met me.
Then, of course, I'd say maybe 31 when I met Anna. So that was obviously an absolute highlight. But yeah,
well done. You managed to get it in there at the end as well.
Yeah.
Anna, would you rather always be overdressed or always underdressed?
Overdressed.
Willie, how do you answer the telephone?
Hello? One word, plain and simple. Hello?
Anna, is your bed made right now?
No.
Yes, it is. I did it.
Okay, so there's not a yes/no answer to that question. I got up first, which means that the bed is made, but not to anywhere near my standard.
Oh, I see.
But it is made.
I bet the cushions are on the floor, are they?
Oh dear, Willie. Oh dear, get back up there, get the cushions on the bed. It's all about appearances, isn't it, really? It doesn't matter, it's just the two of you.
Yes.
Willie, what is your favourite body part?
Well, it's not my nose, because I do get criticised. Eyes. People's eyes. I think they tell a lot. Yeah.
You've got a very strong nose, and from somebody who also has a very strong nose, that's a good thing.
Yes, well, that's a rare compliment. Thank you. Yeah.
Anna, do you have any tattoos?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet.
Well, that's a very interesting question, actually, because we lost a beloved dog in July of last year, and I said at the time, I'm going to get a tattoo of his paw print somewhere on my body. And I've never even considered a tattoo before. My parents are probably listening to this and I don't think they even know. I've never considered it before. It's going to be tiny and I don't know where yet, but that's what I said I would do. And then funnily enough, in our office hub, in our converted steading, we had a vacant unit. And next month, a tattoo artist is moving in to the vacant unit. So I'm going to be one of her first customers.
Well, that is meant to be.
So that's, you must have been psychic to have asked that question.
Willie, where should she position this tattoo, do you think?
She does want it to be discreet, but maybe enough that maybe some people could see it, maybe like under where our watch strap is, or somewhere.
Yes.
Somewhere not completely hidden, but not in your face. It's going to be small anyway. So,
that's a lovely idea. And actually, it's funny you say that, Anna, because I'm digressing a little bit, but my husband and I have just lost, very tragically, 2 of our beloved dogs.
Oh.
And I found it really hard. I know people talk about dogs, and you think, oh, it's a dog, and one was a farm dog and one was a house dog, but it's really hit me. I think it's a lovely idea of what you're doing, and that's a really nice thing to do.
It's horrible. And people who've never had dogs can't understand it.
Yeah, because they're part of you, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. And we still had another dog, and we then got a puppy. So that there's never a replacement.
No.
In fact, when I made sure that the puppy was a different colour, she's a fox red lab and he was a black.
Oh, I lost a black
and he
too.
was a dog and she's a bitch because she couldn't ever replace him. So we wanted a similar dog but different. And it's not a replacement, but they do a brilliant job of keeping your mind off it.
Of course they do. And it's the rhythm of the day and everything, isn't it, that they add. Okay, so paw print, I'm going to consider that. But I don't have the tattoo studio nearby anyway. So, okay.
You're welcome to come here.
Oh, yes, of course. I will do that. So nice. I like the sales talk as well. Willie, what is one thing you wish you enjoyed more?
Shopping.
No, not shopping, because it's a necessary evil. The trashy television that Anna likes, because I have to endure it.
Anna, what's something you notice about someone when you first meet them?
Their smile, I think. First of all, whether or not they are smiling. If they are, it's an incredible welcome and it puts you at ease. And then their smile, the detail of it.
Willie, finally, don't worry. It's coming to an end, this purgatory. Don't worry. What do you think people misunderstand about you?
I can be quite good at just going up and speaking to people and making little chit chat, but I probably I'm more shy than that. Sometimes you just force yourself to make an effort to speak to people. So yeah, I am probably naturally shyer than I maybe appear. Yeah.
Okay, right. You're both off the hook. Thank you for doing that.
It wasn't too hard. I actually think your questions were more difficult than mine.
I know, it's just the way it works out sometimes, isn't it? And it wasn't quite rapid fire there. It was a wee bit slow and steady, I think, by the time we got through them all. But I wonder, you just saying that, Willie, that was slightly more reserved. Is there a yin to the yang in you both? Are you sort of opposites?
We're both shyer than we appear, I would say, actually, because obviously doing this podcasting, and so you've got to speak to a lot of people you never hit. But, when we're on holiday, this is a running joke, that I'm on a sunbed or wherever we are, and I'll just chat to whoever's next to me, and what are you speaking to them for? I said, well, why not? And, our personalities switch when we're away on holiday, don't they?
Yes. Well, yes. When we're at home, I can't stand being idle. I always have to be doing something, and Willie quite likes to be idle, especially when it's dark and it's not working.
Yes, get your jobs done, then you can come down and have a to relax.
Yeah. And then when we go on holiday, the first thing he says is, "What should we do now?" And my response is, "We will sit down. Well, I will sit down on that sun lounger with my book, and I'll see you in a few hours because I'm not going anywhere, not doing anything." But we both have to sometimes push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. We meet a lot of new people in our offices and various things, so you've just got to get on with it and chat away, even if it's not your kind of comfort.
I think that's what a public facing role or profession, isn't it? It forces you that you have to go out there, and we're a similar situation. My husband's a farmer, and I wouldn't ever classify myself as a farmer because I sort of run the diversified side of the business, but that's very public facing, and I quite enjoy that stimulus. But like you, I also like that switch off. But when you go out there, you have to be on, don't you?
Yes, yeah, you do. And sometimes you don't feel like it, but you just have to, put your face on and I suppose, like I said a few minutes ago, smile. I think, even if you don't feel like comfortable enough to smile, just do it anyway. And actually it puts other people at ease. But actually, if you do it long enough, it makes you feel better as well.
It's one thing I'm trying to impart to my children. I think as you get older as well, you sort of have that. When you encounter somebody, you take them on a bit more, don't you? And you just don't know where that conversation is going to lead you. And I'm trying to impart that to my children, that, just striking up a conversation and getting to know somebody, being interested in them. And it might lead nowhere, but you never know who you might meet. And they're at the age that, that's really important to be able to engage with people and not necessarily, be interesting and interested as well.
Yes, exactly. I know. There are two of my friends from years gone by. Their mums always stick in my mind because they were they are still so enthusiastic and keen to see you and always smiling. And I always think of them as just life's cheerful people. And I don't necessarily want to have like such a cheerful legacy myself, but I want to be remembered as somebody who was interested as much as being interesting, I suppose.
Yeah. Amazing that they had such an effect on you as well. Right. Yes, okay. Yeah. Well, we could probably go around the houses, but with lots of topics. But we were here to really talk a little bit about you and what you do at home and the various enterprises. And it sounds like you probably don't get much chance or many opportunities to sit still. So just tell me a bit about how it works at home and how you divide things, and a little bit about how you've built up that business. I don't know who wants to go first.
I'll let you go first because I talk too much anyway.
Well, obviously before Anna appeared in the scene, we were just a arable farm, just doing what we did. I've worked on my own for 20 years actually, since my dad passed away in 2005, but we've took on it some extra contracting, and we're kind of building the arable side of the business. But then I had a bit of a kind of health problem a few years ago. I've got arthritis, which has developed and kind of slowed me up a wee bit. So decided not to carry on putting myself through the mill, because the two girls were very young at the time, and you never saw me, did you? I mean, it was just completely full on, and I was quite enjoying it, but actually how maybe as a family it maybe wasn't right, especially as I had these kind of like the arthritis kind of kicking in and just slowing me up a wee bit. But so that's when we decided that these offices were the steading was kind of right for development, and it was also the last chance we could get to get European funding. We actually got some of the last leader funding before we left the EU. So we kind of consolidated a lot of things, and then you became far more involved because obviously we're in the offices dividing it. You do all the admin and kind of speaking to people, but if there's a light bulb needs changed or a shelf needs put up, or people that think I'm just a handyman that kind of follows behind the boss, Anna here. So yeah, but
quite right.
That's kind of how we do it. So scale back the farming to a certain degree, but I'm feeling better for it as well, and I think that's an important part of kind of well-being as well. Is that I couldn't have carried on doing what I was doing. Really.
Did you always want to farm, Willie?
Yes, I did, because I love being here and being in the countryside. But it certainly does have its highs and lows, and I'm trying to make this point to our girls, is you do the same job almost every year. Yeah, you try and improve it and tweak it and move forward, but you're doing the same job every year, almost doing the same amount of hours. But one year you might have a great year, and another year you might have a disaster, and it might be prices, it might be weather, it might be policy, whatever. So you're not actually in control. So, I mean, I really have enjoyed farming, but you do question at times how sane you are to carry on doing what you're doing, because so much is out with your control. But the payoff is we live in a lovely place, and we enjoy the good times and just try and batten down the hatches when it's not so good. So
and forgive me, I hope you don't mind me going back to, you mentioned it, arthritis, and I appreciate you don't want to dwell in it too much, but obviously that probably had quite a physical impact on you, but you spoke about the sort of the improvements that have come since you've diversified. So is that mentally and physically you feel better?
Yeah, I think having, I mean, this is the whole point of diversification as well, is you don't have all your eggs in the one basket. You do sleep better at night knowing that not everything is riding on a good harvest or a maltster deciding that you're 0.01% high on your nitrogen content to your barley, and that's a £60 differential between malting and feed and things like that. You know, these tiny things, they say it's tiny things keep you awake at night, but actually they can be massive and they're all out with your control. So more strings to the bow is obviously helped.
The also, I apologise, Sarah. I'm just going to have to go and get a power cable in a minute. I'm so unprepared for today, which is not like me. My laptop will go to sleep if I don't get the power cable.
You run and get the power cable. I can keep chatting to Willie. Don't worry.
I was just going to say, not everybody is in this position. Our diversification is almost the opposite of farming because it's pretty much passive income now. It took, that Willie mentioned the leader funding. Goodness, the form that we had to fill out for that was just unbelievable. And we had a lot of effort to create the offices and project manage the build. But now that it's up, people who come to our co-working desks, they book online, they have a keypad to get access to the building. The longer term tenants, I just have to send them an invoice once a month, and then we put fresh milk in the fridge, and I make sure that there's clean towels and coffee pods for the machine. And apart from that, the people come and the people go, and they pay us the money. So now it's passive, which is such a contrast to farming, but also, as Willie said, such a mental relief from farming as well, because you know that. You know how much money you're going to get and pretty much on what date you're going to get it. And as somebody who's also self-employed outside of that diversification, we were two self-employed people who didn't actually know from 1 month to the other how much money we were going to make and when it was going to hit our bank account. So that is really life-changing for us because the money comes in and you know how much it's going to be. And it's not making us rich, but it's a decent amount of money that, yes, we've had to take risk and invest to get it, but it's that stability which is really reassuring, and I think that helps you sleep at night as well as actually helping to pay the bills.
Yeah, there's no guarantee of success, is there, when you do try something new? So there's no one's going to tell you that it's absolutely going to work. You go and get the power cable. You're going to have to stop hugging each other now, so get arms around each other. Willie's going to get cold. Well, Anna's out the room, and not because she's out the room, but just to go back to your sort of childhood and growing up on a farm, and did you have a happy childhood? Was it an easy transition from your sort of the previous generation to you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, completely. I've got 3 older sisters. It isn't a great big grand farmhouse. We all just did. We had. Sorry, let Anna squidge back in again. We just had that one big car that we always went and took holiday cottages up in the Highlands, and we always just to cram ourselves in and off we go. And it was great. It was great fun. And the transition to me taking over, I left SAC in Edinburgh in 1995. But at which point my dad had already had some health issues of his own. He'd had a heart attack when I was on my year out working in the borders, so I had to cut that short. So, he worked hard and made sure there was something for me to take over. So I was always grateful for that. But it was quite a natural progression. I came as he was ready to certainly take things easier, which is, again, I see other friends who have got parents still involved, and that is great. I obviously wish Dad was still here, but you still see a lot of farming families, chaps my age, 50, who are still doing what their dad tells them, So that was never the case for me. So I was very lucky in that respect. So
you had that freedom.
Maybe I made some mistakes, but they were my mistakes, so that's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Anna, you in terms of you coming on the scene, that's his second favourite time, whenever that was.
Yes.
Do you come from a farming background, or is it all new to you?
Yes and no, I think, is the answer to that question. My dad's not a farmer. He comes from a farming family in Wales. And my mum's dad and two of her brothers, my mum's dad was a farmer and two of her brothers are farmers in Scotland. So there was definitely that family connection rather than be directly my dad. I grew up in England because my dad worked in London, but we used to come up to Scotland every holiday and get involved in the farm. That's how I got my passion for horses, which is something that Willie probably wishes I didn't have.
One or two horses would be fine. Yeah.
5 is too many, apparently.
How many have you got? 5?
5. Yes, it is too many. Even I think it's too many, but they're
You can only ride one at a time, no?
I know. And actually, my main kind of farming, I don't have what I would consider to be a decent practical farming knowledge because I can barely drive a tractor, to be honest. But before I set up my own business, I worked in the communications team at NFU Scotland. So I've got sort of enough knowledge that I know what Willie's talking about, which I think is helpful. But hopefully, I don't know enough to. Well, Willie would probably say I don't know enough to interfere too much. I kind of let him. I do the diversification. I kind of let him get on with the farming, and he lets me get on with my business, and that usually works pretty well.
I mean, these things are probably not always plain sailing, and I'm sure there's been ups and downs. But are you good at weathering it together? Are you good at sort of getting things thrashed out, or do you sort of is one of you a stewer and one of you are right? Let's talk about this, or
I would pretty much talk about anything and everything, I think, and Willie is a bit more reluctant, but I don't think you necessarily stew about things. Sometimes you just don't see the need to always talk about it. Would that be true?
Yeah, I know some people say it's good to talk, but sometimes I think talking's overrated. Sometimes less is more. Just, if I want to tell you something, I'll tell you, and if I don't want to tell you,
this must be excruciating for you being on this podcast, Willie. I'm so
actually,
sorry we made you do this.
I did have to kind of persuade him.
You did. Well, listen, you've got 2 daughters as well, and I've only got boys, but I do see a massive difference with girlfriends that have daughters. They just seem a lot more open, and they're a lot more willing to share, and the boys seem to be taking after their father a bit more. That they're a bit like you, Willie. That why use 10 words when a couple will do?
Efficiency. I call it efficiency. Yeah.
I do feel a bit sorry for him, to be honest, because he grew up in a house of 3 sisters, and now he's got 2 daughters, and so forever surrounded by women. And one of our daughters in particular could talk for Great Britain, and so I do sometimes. We're not using them right now, but he's got these massive bucket headphones, which are quite often on his head because I'm not sure. He's either listening to a rugby podcast, or he's listening to Metallica, or he's just trying to drown out the sound of us talking.
Metallica.
What happened to older? Sometimes they don't. Yeah, sometimes they don't even switch them on. Yeah,
just block out the noise. And so, what I mean, working with my husband as well. We find it very hard to not talk about work and to remove ourselves from the business, and there's not really a switch off, and we've got to get better at that. I wonder how good you are at that.
Well, I do sometimes think we go on. We don't just go on one date night a year, but we went before Christmas. We went on a Christmas date night, and I was thinking that most of our topics of conversation do revolve around the girls, which I suppose is inevitable, the farm, when we're going to give the next bale of hay to the horses, or so I suppose there is a kind of pattern to it. I quite often like to bring up the topic of, well, where shall we go on holiday? That's not always picked up. That sometimes that Willie just pretends he hasn't heard me.
It's not received as well as you would like it to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do go on
holiday.
Manifest
it here. Manifest it here. Where would you like to go on holiday?
Costa Rica is the top of my list at the moment.
We're manifesting it here, Anna. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
okay,
actually,
listeners, Anna wants to go to Costa Rica, and Willie's going to make that happen in 2026.
And I have to say, actually, everybody listening to this will know a farmer or several farmers who don't go on holiday. There are many, many farmers who don't go on holiday. Now, I'm just actually feeling very grateful that I didn't marry one of those because A, I love holidays and I love sunshine, but B, I believe that holidays are really quite important, not just to get vitamin D, because, we don't really have very much vitamin D in Scotland with the lack of sunshine, but also to give your brain a break, to give your body a break, and to give you time to spend as a family. When we go on holiday, even when Willie's talking to strangers and I'm ignoring them because my nose is in a book, we all as a family have a really good time, and we'll jump in the sea and we'll eat nice food and we might go on a trip somewhere. But actually, if people don't want to go on holiday, that's up to them. But my life would be much sadder if I didn't, because I think it's really good. It's good for all of us, I think. So it's probably slightly more important to me than it is to you. But I think we do collectively realise that holidays are important wherever you are.
And our holiday priorities
and also,
are
I think it's an
different
age
as
thing,
well,
isn't it? Sorry, Willie?
I was saying our holiday priorities are different as well because, after harvest, we had a week in Crete in the sun, which was fantastic. And I did love that. But in the summer, we also had 5 days up in Gairloch on the west coast. And I loved that just as much.
Stunning.
And, the seafood in there and the views and just, we had 2 days of rain in middays and then 3 days where it got sunburned to a crisp. So, I absolutely loved it.
I did too. I loved it too. But there is that weather uncertainty, isn't there, if you stay in Scotland?
I think that, taking yourself off to sunnier climes with the heat on the bones just makes you feel so much better. But I also think that farming, also being married to a farmer, living on the farm, which is basically living in the office, is that you never escape it. So the only way to escape it is to remove yourself from the location. Whereas other professions, they can leave the office, they commute home, they close the office door and they'll leave it. Whereas a farmer, there's always something to do, or you can always find something to do. There's a guilt element sometimes I feel with farmers that they say, I don't have time to take a holiday, but most farmers I know, when they get on holiday, enjoy it.
Yes.
And can be quite wild as well when they're on holiday.
Yeah.
But I would say also that since the kind of arthritis developed, I am certainly far more appreciative of warm weather and recharging, which it would be a harder sell to me in the past, Anna, wouldn't it? To get me away.
Not long after when he was diagnosed with the arthritis, and then you got shingles because his immunity was low. And actually, I didn't even have to say anything. It was 2 of my friends. I think you thought I'd put them up to it, but I hadn't. 2 of my friends, also farmers' wives, both of them, took him aside one day and said, no offence, but you look awful. I think you need some sunshine. And so when I then said independently, I think we need some sunshine, I got an immediate yes, which I wouldn't have got before. So that was a real positive.
How much of a shock was that? Diagnosis of the arthritis, was it something that was niggling that you ignored for a while, or?
Well, when it came on, it did come on kind of quite suddenly. I mean, it was, I wasn't feeling great. I was feeling run down, and then I got all kind of swelling in my hands and up in my shoulder stuff. My youngest daughter was 4 years old at the time, and I had to get her to put my socks on. I thought this is not right. So I obviously went and got checked out, but no, my mum has had arthritis. She actually just turned 90, but she's had it for 40 plus years, as did her mother, and 2 of my sisters also have. I mean, it's not all the same, but it's an autoimmune. We've all got these kind of little autoimmune, let's say, glitches. We're not all got the same things. So, it's not a total shock, but when it came on, and I was 45 or 6 or something at the time, I thought, oh, great, oh well, this is something to look forward to for the rest of my days. But I got looked after.
And did you have to take time to process that? Have you? I mean, you obviously, are you at peace with it now? Do you just manage it well? Are you?
Well, my there's nothing I could do about it other than get looked after. And I've got to say the NHS have been great. So I don't really feel there's any other option but to accept it. Yeah, I mean, obviously going back to it, it did affect how we're farming and running the business. And I could have carried on, but I'd have been run down, and it would have made it's all under control now. And you know, but I think stress, and there's various triggers which seems to kick it off, and I think removing that stress, and I mean, people do think I'm probably laid back and chilled, but I do think that's actually a strength. So you know, I'm accepting of it and take what help is there available to you, and just deal with the hand you've been given. So yeah.
But I think I've been quite an understanding, like, farmer's wife. Our eldest daughter was born right in the middle of harvest, so we hardly saw Willie, and I just kind of had to get on with it. But I suppose I was also a bit of I've always been a bit of a worm in Willie's ear, even before his diagnosis, saying, just remember that there is more to life than farming. Do you really want to get to be 80 and think that you didn't go to any of your daughter's birthday parties because you were sitting in a tractor? And do you really want to get to 80 and think, oh, I never went on holiday, and we always turned down invitations for X number of months of the year because it was the silly season? And, you know, so I've always been a bit of a worm like that, because I'm of the view that, you know, you can't take your time or your money with you. So you need to make the most of both of those things while you've got them.
Do you think that's coming from a non-farming background? Sorry, Anna, do you think that's coming from a non-farming background that gave you that sort of like different approach, different attitude?
Maybe, although I do remember that, one of my uncles, actually, he's a farmer. Well, he's kind of retired now. He's got two sons who farm. But he's always been kind of more of the view of, and I think my grandfather was the same, actually, of, yes, this is our livelihood, but actually we also have a life. And my uncle, if there was a wedding in August or September, even though he was an arable farmer, he would be at the wedding. Whereas a lot of arable farmers, you know, I went to one of my really good friends' weddings on my own because Willie was busy. But that wouldn't happen now. If we had a wedding, we're kind of out of the wedding season. But, you know, if we had an important wedding and it was in the harvest, you would just say, right, well, the combine's not going on that date because we're going to a wedding. Whereas before, it would have been like, oh, well, yeah, I'll RSVP for myself, and I'll go along on my own. And that's not, to me, this is the way it should be. Like, I'm not saying you should stop the combine for every single possible social engagement, but, you know, if it's a close friend or family member's wedding, I mean, that only happens once, doesn't it?
And I don't know whether or not, I think we're sort of similar ages, but I found an album from my children, and with lots of, you know, all the photos that I have. My winter projects for the past 5 years have been to do all the photo frames and photo albums. They've not been done, by the way. Hashtag just saying the winter projects. It's on my list as well. I'm going to manifest it. This is my winter. But anyway, I came and Dave and I just had this real sense of nostalgia when we were looking through them, going, they were so young. We just can't even remember that time because we're just trying to get through the end of the day, and we were just, right, what we're going to do next and what's happening. And now I think you get to a certain age, you go, oh, I'd give anything to go back to that time, to have them in my arms again, and just take a bit more time, take a breath, and just enjoy it rather than get to the end of the day and then rush through the next day and think, oh, they'll get to this stage and then they'll get to the next stage and then soon they'll be at school, etc. But I think that's an age thing as well. In reflection, you see time not running out, but you just see that, don't you?
Yes, well, yes, and it flies by, you know. At the time, it flies by, actually. And somebody said to me the other day, oh, yeah, the older you get, the faster a year goes. And that's true. And then also when you look back, you think, goodness, how has that happened? How have all those years gone by? And you only live once. So you've got to make the most of what you've got. And if you want to make the most of your time by being in a cattle shed for 14 hours a day, then go for it. But that's not what I would choose to do. And I think your mind has changed a little bit too.
Well, it has, but almost because it was, how much would my mindset have changed if I didn't have to slow down because of the arthritis?
I wonder
myself
yes.
that as well. So,
Yeah.
but talking about time, I know I'm far too young for this, but I became a great uncle about 6 weeks ago.
So congratulations!
Well, I know, but it seems no times. I mean, our oldest daughter coming up for 13. She's 5'5". She's got 5'6" feet. She's got the biggest hand. I mean, I've got big hands, but our piano teacher said she's got the biggest hands he's ever seen on a girl that age. So but so she's gone from.
Not sure if that's a good thing.
No, well, it's for
unless you're a piano player.
For a piano player, but it's amazing that in a blink of an eye she's gone to 5'5" or whatever, and then this is another generation has just arrived as well. And you forget. I went to baby Heidi just a couple of weeks ago, and it's amazing how. You forget how tiny they are.
It just makes you stop and think. And then I suppose hosting as a fellow podcast host, you hear lots of stories. And I wonder how much that's helped you and inspired you and just, people sharing their stories on health and well-being as well.
Oh, creating the OnFARM podcast is absolutely the favourite part of my job. And it's the best thing in a business sense, it's the best thing I've ever done. I absolutely love it. You'll be the same, I imagine. Aside from lockdown, obviously, we try and be on farm because that's the name of the podcast. We try and get out and about and meet people. Never feels like a day's work. And you meet so many interesting people. And they really inspire you, whether it's probably sometimes to our detriment because sometimes I'll come home and be like, I want to be a flower farmer, Willie, because I've just interviewed this really lovely lady and she's a flower farmer. And then I do something else. I want to have goats, and he's always like, oh God, not another idea.
I rule.
But you meet so many inspiring people and you hear so many amazing stories of entrepreneurship and innovation, but also people doing things differently to try and save the family farm or to try and create another income stream. It's really inspiring. And I didn't do this interview, but Monty, who used to be my business partner, and that's a whole nother story actually. Monty's got his own health issues that he's fighting at the moment, but he did an episode of our podcast with Doddy Weir because he and Doddy were really good friends. And if you just listen to that one, that's an example of somebody who remained optimistic about life despite what was ahead of them. And so you think, Willie probably doesn't think this in the same way I do, but I sometimes think about Willie's arthritis and think, actually, imagine dealing with that 100 years ago when there was no medication. The medication has made you go more or less back to normal. I mean, you're not probably going to climb all the Monroes, which you might have wanted to do. But apart from that, which is pretty mega, medication has made him go back to normal. And so actually think about the suffering if that was pre-medication, and it makes you think about all of the people who are in a worse situation and who still remain optimistic and who still kind of keep fundraising or whatever it is that they do. And
he's left such an amazing legacy.
Yes, absolutely.
Doddy. And I think he was ridiculously optimistic right until the end, wasn't he? But you've got a lovely way of looking at it, and that's fantastic to hear that you're being very positive about it. Is there one thing that you do together or individually every day just to give you peace of mind, make you feel good about yourself?
You come up with various different things. At one point, you're going out standing barefoot in the grass on one leg for a while, and I just look
grounding.
Shake my head.
It's called
That's
grounding.
very in, Willie. I think you'll find it's very in.
He won't. What I would like is for him, but he won't, and I'm not going to make him. But I'm quite into my sea swimming, and I just know that Willie is never going to embrace that hobby unless it's July and really hot. We sometimes have lunch together because we work from home, and if you come in at lunchtime, we'll have soup or bacon sandwich or something together. And then after all the jobs are done and the girls are kind of done their homework or gone to bed, then we'll sit and watch. I don't make him watch trashy TV at all. We compromise. The thing that we like watching together is like crime things. So Shetland, for example, we watch Shetland together. So if all the jobs are done and the girls are in bed, then we'll sit down on the sofa in front of the log burner and watch a crime. Might be Shetland. It might be an American one or New Zealand or wherever, but that's usually.
Do you like the Scandinavian ones on Channel 4? Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
good one called The Ridge, which is a BBC New Zealand collaboration. So crime dramas is probably the thing that
common ground,
the common television ground. Because I don't want to watch rugby, and he doesn't want to watch Married at First Sight. So
exercise wise, do you do anything every day to keep fit and just make you feel better and move?
No, I mean, I played rugby for many years, and that's given me a few ailments as well, a few niggles. But I do still try to play golf, and I actually that it does take up quite a lot of time, but it gets me. Part of the thing I've got to do is keep on moving to keep my body moving, so that does help. And I've got a group of farmers who I play with, a group of kind of. They call themselves normal people because they're not farmers, but that's a little running joke we have. And then I've also got my ex-rugby club mates that we play with as well. So I do have quite a wide, various different social circles that I keep up with, and that trying to get out and do that. And other than that, just out with the dogs and walk up and down the farm tracks with the dogs and taking what's
a good dose of fresh air every day.
Our current shared activity, which we have to do every 2 days, is take out another massive bale of hay for the horses because they eat it so quickly. Not very fun, but it's a 2-person job, and we always do it together. Usually
it takes both of you, and that's teamwork.
Actually, so that's good.
Oh yeah, no. Well, listen, I'm conscious of the time, and Willie, I know you've got to head off. I just want to say what a joy it was to speak to you both, being very open and very honest with me. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Thank you for having us.
Despite your claims of being shy, you're very, very. Thank you for sharing. You're very open, lovely people, and whatever 2026 brings, I hope you have a very happy year.
Thank you.
Manifest it and make it happen, Anna.
We'll send you a postcard from Costa Rica.
I love that.
We'll see.
On that note, thank you both very much.
Thank you very much for having us.
What a lovely chat with Anna and Willie. Check out Wheatrig's Business Hub online and, of course, the OnFARM podcast. It's been going 5 years now and hears from all sorts of well-kent voices in Scottish farming. As ever, I really hope this episode of Blether Together from Farmstrong Scotland has entertained and given food for thought on supporting your own well-being. Find Farmstrong Scotland online, farmstrongscotland.org.uk, or find us and connect on social media. See you next time.
Produced by Bespoken Media.